Hey, before your Q3 call, I've got the campaign brief ready, built from last quarter's data and the competitive landscape.
Great. Did you include the differentiation angle the CMO asked for?
Already in there. 3 angles no competitors using right now. Just need your approval.
Approved. Thanks. Oh, agents, where would we be without you?
Somewhere with a lot more tabs open.
Create your first Monday agent in minutes at monday.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Emotionally unavailable. On each side of me not that long ago. So I was like, excellent. Well, welcome to Emotionally Unavailable. It's so good to have you here. Audience, just so you know, I was like, how did we connect? Because I can't find the information anywhere. So I don't have any real intelligent way to start this conversation other than tell me about yourself.
Thank you. Well, my name is Lena Fein, and thanks for having me on today. I'm 68 years old, and I wrote a memoir. I never thought I'd publish. I was afraid of being shamed because I was shamed as a young child. My mother was very abusive. And the bottom line is in the process of writing and reclaiming my story, I found my heart. I didn't realize I was bearing my heart. And so the process of writing the memoir, finding the courage to publish it, receiving comments that weren't shaming, has allowed me to walk in the world with my heart open and to just be in the moment. And I feel like it's never too late at 68 that I didn't miss that memo about being in situations one moment at a time and doing my best to have my heart open and to bless the moment.
Yeah.
It's such a different space that I'm living at. So I'm thankful. So thanks for having me on the show. And you could ask me any question you want and I'll just let it rip.
Okay, I do. I feel like I know what you mean by your heart, finding your heart and just engaging with it in a new way. But I want to make sure. I don't want to assume. So do you mean you kind of like were able to remove those barriers that were there to protect you, but like that you had a really hard time sharing that part of yourself? Okay, yeah. Now I also want to ask you this. In terms of fearing shaming comments and things like that, did you feel like your story was just so unique that people would just have judgments and criticisms, or were you just so used to any amount of vulnerability being met with shame and criticism that you just really lived in fear of that?
Yes. And part of my story early on is that from down to 18 months, I had a photographic memory.
Oh.
Like the reason I'm saying 18 months is because that was the day, instead of my mom coming to get me out of my crib, it was somebody I didn't recognize, and I cried, and it was actually my grandmother. And she said, "I'm your grandmother and your mom is having a baby today. And we're going to go, I bought you a new dress." I still remember this. She's picking me up out of the crib. "I bought you a new dress and you're going to see your new baby sister." So this memory is visual, auditory, and feeling states. I thought everybody anyways. So I remember going to the hospital. I remember my sister had brown hair and I had blonde hair. I remember a lot about that day. And I also remember as a baby, as a toddler, my sense of joy. No matter what was going on in the house, it was this little kid, "Ooh, cookies! Ooh, baby sister!" like that. I had bad things happen when I was very little that I have memories of, but I thought it was with my little young brain and young heart, I thought, oh, everything's fun. Everything's funny. Everything's funny. Even though looking at it as an adult, I'm like, oh, that really wasn't funny.
Right.
The thing that changed me, because I was very, very enthusiastic, was I was in first grade. And I was very smart with this photographic memory. And I remember this is the days where you can take your 25 cents. And I bought a diary. I walked to the 5 and dime store and I wrote all about my crush in first grade of a little boy in his corduroys. And I wrote in my diary and I was so proud. And I knew like, oh, I watched Leave It to Beaver, some show that was going on then. And I hid my diary under my mattress. The next day I came home from school on the bus, I'm a little first grader, and my mother is standing at the door with my diary. And how dare you write such things? How dare you write such thing? And I was mortified. I ran into my room and cried because I was like, diaries are private. And so I stayed in my room. And then when my father came home, I came out of my room, and at this point, I have 3 sisters, like we're like 4 girls, really little. My mother read my diary out loud again I'm sobbing on the floor with my 3 sisters listening and my dad listening. And I was sobbing, and I thought, for sure my dad's going to tell my mom that she shouldn't have done that. And all he did was, with his briefcase, stepped over my flailing little girl self and went into his bedroom. That night, I remember going to bed and for the first time in my life feeling this sense of sad, and it's not safe ever to share my story because it's shameful and something's wrong with me. And that was that heart space, which at a very young age, like, I'm going to be smart in school. And I got good grades, but this little girl, tender, yearning heart, that was what was shut. And it was such an early age that I got used to compensating by, let's just be smarter.
Achieving.
And I did that, and I thought I was good. I got A's in school. I got a master's degree in engineering. had a really good job. And when I was 51, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer and died within a week and a half of that diagnosis. On her deathbed, she was intubated, so she couldn't speak. And my mom was very verbally and physically abusive. Even when I was an adult, I had to set boundaries. This was the first time I looked in her eyes, and it was like her eyes were brighter than normal. My whole body was like vibrating, and it wasn't fear. It was like, I felt this heart space kind of open. And I realized that I think my mom is making an amends on her deathbed. That amends was so strong. It started the beginning. It didn't happen overnight, but it was the awareness that maybe there's something I had been leaving behind, and then began this whole 15-year journey of, leaving my high-tech job, dancing, doing the arts, making mistakes, putting myself out there, allowing my hair for the first time to be curly instead of cutting it all off.
Really?
Yeah. And
you really didn't want to be seen.
I didn't want to be seen, and I didn't know I didn't want to be seen because I got so good at being an achiever.
Yeah.
I unpacked all that. Like 15 years later, I feel like I'm living from a different place. I don't think I could have done the job that I did when I was younger because my brain is aging, but I feel that, this heart space is priceless. I have grandkids. I love hugging them. I'm all in, and I'm glad I didn't miss the memo. Like, I'm glad I didn't go to my grave without finding this.
Yeah.
And I wrote it all. I wrote it down, that maybe some other woman reading it will go, me too.
Yes, because this isn't uncommon. The daughters really bore the brunt of some shit. So you're the oldest?
There was 4 girls in 5 years. My older sister is 14 months older than me. then
Okay.
me, then the other one that's 17 or 18 months younger than me, and then the little one. She's 4 years younger than me. I call her the little one. We're all in our 60s. Yeah, 4 girls in 5 years. My older sister was kind of the favored one. She was the one that got the ballet lessons, the long hair, and I thought, she was mom's favorite. Then there was me. I'm the messy one, like with this curly hair. That was very uncoordinated. And then the next one was like only 5 feet, and she was really cute, and she was the cheerleader. And then, I thought I was the klutzy, ugly one that no boy is ever going to like me.
Yeah. Oh, I resonate with that. How did this kind of inability to share your heart with others, how did that affect your intimate partnerships?
I shouldn't laugh. I think I could have done a lot better with intimacy.
Yeah.
My first husband, we met in college. We did all the right thing.
Hey guys, it's me. Emotionally Unavailable is produced 100% in-house by me with no team. So if this show has ever helped you and you want to give back, subscribe to the Patreon. There's several different levels with different benefits in each. Check the show notes and you can see what each tier subscription will get you. There's also lots of fun things coming down the pipeline for the Patreon subscribers. So get in early. You can get a workbook, you can buy merch, you can do any of the things, and all of that supports the show to help it keep going. Really appreciate every single one of you. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see what we continue to do together.
He was shy. We were both kind of nerdy, and we made 2 kids. He was really sweet, but really, really, really smart, and his whole being, I think, was more a true engineer, if you will. We would cuddle, but the sort of the sexuality I didn't have language for. We divorced after 16 years. Our kids were little, and I kind of started on this path of exploring, made messes.
Of course.
But I have managed to stay really close to, my first husband, and we always lived kind of close together. He had a stroke a couple of years ago. He's learned to walk and talk again. It's amazing. So we have a really, really beautiful family unit. It feels more like a brother in some ways.
Yeah.
And we talk on the phone. And so that's that. But I just didn't know what love was.
Yeah.
The second husband, also a 16-year marriage, I picked the opposite. The party boy.
Life of the party.
Life of the party. Like, if there's a bottle, I'm going to drink it and everyone else is going to drink with me. It was fun at first. And that until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I divorced him when my mother died, made me realize, have the courage to take a step in a different direction. So, I spent this whole time since my mom died, really being single, growing into myself, exploring the feminine, like dancing, allowing my hair to go curly, but I could have product now, so it's not as frizzy, just really learning how to sing, doing the things that I said I couldn't do because I'm too bad or too klutzy or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I've dabbled with men and dating and things like that, but I'm really cherishing this time in my life, having wonderful women friends, wonderful men friends, hugging grandkids, having great relationships with my son and my daughter who are in their 30s. They each have a child. I think it's priceless. And I take naps. I let myself take naps.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And the process of writing that book, finding the courage to publish and finding the courage to actually do an audio in my voice.
Oh,
reading about
nice.
I am so glad I did it. It's not about how many books I sell, or it's nothing about making money. It's the whole goal was if just one woman reads my story and goes, I see me in there, and they have that aha moment, it's worth it. And there's been many. Yeah.
I'm curious because of my own experiences with the barriers that I placed around my heart, how this impacted you as a mom when the kids were little, because I look back and hugging them and holding them was very natural when they were really little, but after a certain age, it didn't feel, it was not a conscious choice. I just stopped reaching for them to embrace them because it was like, I'm guessing what the deal was because it wasn't conscious, but I did not reach for them. And I think that it was because it was like, 7-year-olds don't need that or something, like it just wasn't normal or natural for me anymore.
I'm glad you mentioned that. No one has ever mentioned this to me before. And I'm just realizing when my kids were born, oh my gosh, nursing them, hugging them, all that felt so natural. When they got older, and I've had friends tell me this when they used to friends I've had since kindergarten, when we'd see each other later on in life and they'd come and give me a hug that I'd kind of flinch.
I was the same
way. I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah.
I would say that when I see my kids, I hug, but we're not like this, like they were when they were little. That is a really, really interesting insight. I'm much better, when a friend comes in for a hug, at relaxing into it, but there's still that little,
I've worked actually really hard to be soft enough to hug my friends, and it does feel very natural to go in for a quick little situation.
Yeah.
But those friends of mine that are like huggers and they want to stay in the embrace, I'm like, that's not for me, sis. That's it. It is uncomfortable after a little while. I just don't like it. That's way too much touch. But I'm still working on it because I'm in my soft girl era too, but I also my my oldest two were from my first marriage. And then I now have a 12-year-old from my second marriage. And so I'm doing things differently with her as I grow softer, but she's very huggy and touchy and required that even when I didn't want it. But now I'm the one initiating a lot of that because I'm looking at my oldest who refuses to hug me. It's almost like subconsciously punishing me for not being a hugger when he was little. And he has said that was painful for him, that we weren't really a huggy people. But I'm I literally didn't even think about it. I was not hugged after a certain age. When I was little, I was nurtured appropriately physically at that point, but it was I received the same thing. And I think it was all subconscious, but it was impactful.
And it was maybe
obviously
the generation our parents came from too. This has never come up in any one of my podcasts, this thing about hugging, and it's just making me realize it's been a journey not only to claim my heart, but I've been flinch from my voice, my singing voice, and I've stepped closer into it, flinch from somebody giving me a hug. I know I'm getting better, but that place of, I don't know if it's shame or if my household, my mom was a screamer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's part of me that when I have too much stimulation, I can't, I love my friends, I love doing this, love doing that, but I can't wait to go home and lie on my couch and put a blanket on me and just be really quiet.
Yes.
I think I'm always probably going to be like that because I'm now getting more comfortable with people and I love those events. But even when there's a man in my life, it's I so love going home.
Yes. That is so real. And I think I've always needed that decompression after social stuff and did not realize it for so long. And now, just school clothes shopping the other day with the 12-year-old, after the couple stops we made, we came home and I was and now I'm going to need at least an hour in a cocoon in my room. to lights off,
Wow.
all the things, because that's what I
Yes.
require. I know how to take care of myself now. I didn't know I needed that before. I didn't know that I
Yeah.
was overstimulated. I had no idea. But
Yeah.
also, I just wanted to name, when you have an abuse wound,
Yeah.
touch isn't safe. So
Yes.
that, I
Oh
was
my
very physically
gosh.
abused too. And touch was not safe. And also when you're overstimulated, touch is painful. That's just how it is. Like when you feel the electrical current buzzing through your body because you're overstimulated and your nervous system's fried, touch is
Yeah.
painful, and it creates a whole shitstorm of feelings and sensations that are not comfortable. And it took a while for me to kind of identify, because there was a certain spot in my back. And I really think it's because my mom beat the shit out of me one time right there in my back. But
Ugh.
huggers love to just,
Yeah.
they're embracing you and they're rubbing that spot on my back. And I'm like thinking about it even. I hate it. I hug all the time now, but still too long on that spot. And I'm like, ooh, that my body remembers being hurt there. And it wasn't just a physical pain. In fact, I could tolerate that much more than the words, the vitriol she
Ugh.
was spewing as she was doing it. And
Oh
just
my
feeling so
gosh.
betrayed, you know?
Y- You sound so much like my inner voice. Like my mom, like I'd come home from school and it was like, oh my gosh, look at your hair. I feel sorry for the man you marry. And then sometimes she'd pull my hair. She
Yes.
was physically violent. And it was awful. I would just go into my room and hide. And even when I was older and just kind of stopped talking, but I realized my girlfriends were everything, the little pod you had in 6th grade and 3rd grade and high school. I
Yes.
still have a lot of those same friends. No one ever wanted to come over my house.
Oh, I bet. They said, no,
And I
your mama's not that
remember, yeah,
nice.
those same friends, we got together about a year ago. They all came to San Francisco and we had a little slumber party. And I was saying, I go, they go, somehow my mom came up and I'm like, oh, you knew my mom was abusive? Like, are you kidding me? We all could see it. Like the things that would come out of my mouth out of my mother's mouth were so cruel that they impacted my self-esteem, my sensuality, my sexuality, my courage for so long. And it wasn't until she died and then I had that feeling of maybe she was making amends,
Mhm.
that I needed that sort of spiritual intervention to move forward because yes, I got A's in school. Yes, I did. I was vice president of an engineering company. I did all the things, but that emotional space that you're talking about, really, I did some version of it, but it was very guarded. So
Yeah.
wow, I realize even now with the amount of healing and somatic work I've done, I still need that time to myself.
Yeah.
I love my kids, love my grandkids, but boy, when it's time to go to take a nap, I'm right there,
Yeah.
you know?
God, listen, I love a nap. I love a nap
I
so
know.
much. And I finally got to a place that I'm like, sis, if you're tired, why are we shaming ourselves for needing sleep? And I realize it's because primarily I was raised by my grandma. And sleep was, it ebbed and flowed. Mostly if you slept, there was shame. Like if you needed a nap, even though this bitch was a napper too, she'd take her little doze on the couch,
Yeah.
And if you did a quick 20-minute snooze, that was appropriate, no shame. But if you slept in on a Saturday,
Yeah.
or she was constantly monitoring what time I woke up. Like if I sounded like I just woke up in adulthood when she calls, she's like, are you just waking up? And so I learned to lie to people about the fact that I was just asleep at 8 a.m. when they called. And what the fuck? Who cares?
Yeah.
But that's,
Yeah.
they associated rest with non-productivity, which, as women in this society, if you weren't always up and doing things,
Yeah.
you were worthless. And that's programmed into all these generations. I can have compassion for that because I know she did that to me because she got that from other people. And
Probably. Yeah.
it's like, good
Yeah.
God, rest is important. And I'm in a phase of life where rest is needed and I'm going to give that to myself. But I
I
totally resonate
know.
because I notice it more and more and more the older I get. When I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
around people afterwards, I'm like, God, I'm tired. But I was trying to explain to my family too, being a therapist, after talking for several hours, I'm like, well, and even right before, if I have 2 hours of clients, I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm having my 30 minutes of quiet before I have to do these 2 sessions,
Yeah.
like, and then after I'm like, I'm usually pretty energized after sessions, but it's not too long before the energy starts
You
to
need
wane.
to
I'm like, okay, I gotta
recharge.
go. I gotta go clear my
Yeah.
my energy. I
Yeah.
gotta cocoon up.
I think that's so important no matter what age we are to allow ourselves time by ourselves to recharge. I like to sometimes I take a walk, sometimes I'm laying on the couch, but in general, I need that alone time. I love people. I love going in, getting a cup of coffee and making eye contacts with the barista, saying hello, like you're having an authentic interaction with somebody you see every day. And that feels really good. And coming in for a hug now, from friends. But that part of myself, and I think everybody has it, that needs to recharge and be
Yes.
alone is so important, especially if you come from an abusive household, because
Yeah.
our
Well, because we
wiring is kind
treat.
of,
Yeah,
tender.
exactly. It does mess up your wiring. But also, I think one of the reasons I didn't realize for so long that I needed that is because I was kind of scared to be with myself. I mean, until social media, I feel terrible for saying this because I'm shaming myself as the words are coming out of my mouth, so I'll just stop doing that. But until social media and I kind of had nothing to do with my time, like I didn't really know how to fill it. I
Yeah.
was constantly lonely. I'm going to put that in quotes because it really was like there was just so much noise in my head and I didn't know where to put it and
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get out of it or quiet it. And so being alone just made me feel like I was alone because nobody liked me.
Yeah.
So there was always this meaning and morality and judgment and shame component with it that like it was like, well, you're not supposed to be spending this much time alone and you're only doing that because people don't want to spend time with you because you're mean and you're loud and you're whatever. And then as I got more and more comfortable, again, I do babysit myself with social media, but I went through a reading thing where I read hundreds of books
Yeah. Yeah.
and that became really fun too. And it was like the first time in my life, that was in my mid 30s, but that was the first time in my life where I knew how to entertain myself and kind of
Wow.
knew like, I kind of like being by myself, like
Yeah.
quieting the outside noise too, and just being like, y'all do you. I'm going to do me. But it
Right.
was such a process. And I mean, now I do things other than, I mean, listen, I love social media. I way too much, but I do other things, obviously, but it took a while. And I also realized that's when I did a lot of self-sabotaging in those moments alone where, let's say I ran out of dopamine from TikTok, and it's finally like time to put the phone down. And I'd be like, I'm bored. And then I'd be like, this feels lonely. And there was always this voice that was like, yeah, because I mean, no one wants to spend any time with you. Like,
And
you're
those
mean.
voices, I don't know if they ever fully go away, but I do find that I have more of a relationship with them. That's not beating myself. Like I'll go, oh gosh, look at me. I'm laying on the couch and I'm binge watching some stupid show on TV and I'll never tell anybody because they can't see me. And then there's part of me that just kind of smiles and goes, this, it's okay. It's okay. Like this is a form of rest. You're enjoying it.
Yes.
You don't have anybody that's monitoring you. You're not lazy. I do, I can clean my house and make myself
Yes.
breakfast.
Yes.
But there's that part, I guess, I don't know if you're like this, but because my coping strategy was to work harder and to make sure I was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So when I used to never allow myself rest.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, rest is part of my healing.
Yep.
It's okay. Like when you're 68, like it's okay to have a nap.
Yes.
I'm like, wow. And it's okay for my, 2-year-old granddaughter to have a nap. And then she wakes up and she might be crying or being excited. And I think, we grow more mature, but those basic needs, we're never going to be like pure porcelain dolls doing everything just perfect. We're all going to be, I'm learning to embrace the messiness, but not embrace as much self-cruelty, cruelty or
Yes.
cruelty towards
Yes.
others that I've been, as I get more kind on my own self beat up or not beat up, I realize I'm much more kinder to people at the
Yes.
coffee shop instead of, like I hate, like my
Yes.
mom used to do that. And I don't do that anymore. But it's like that. Oh, the coffee isn't good enough or this, like to just kind of come off like it's like an arrogant bitch. And I really had
Yes.
to, I'm like, that's my mom. That's what my mom did. And I'm doing that.
Yes. And it's just like this overall discontent, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I was going to ask, and then you answered the question. I was going to ask if you were much more judgmental of others too, because it's all just a projection of your own stuff. But oh my God, I was so judgmental of other people. But yes, every experience had something negative to it. And my husband used to say that. He'd be like, you see the worst in everything, which was the worst thing he could possibly say to me. I did not see that at all. And so I'd be like, do you even fucking know me? Like, what? I am so positive and I have survived all of this stuff and blah. And I did. And I was right, but I also was a nagging bitch and there was nothing ever good enough. You know what I mean? Like
this is so
fast
fun.
food
I was a
drive-thru.
nagging bitch too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you become when you're criticized every minute of every day in childhood. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
But nothing was ever good enough. You go to McDonald's and I'm like, did you see the way
Yeah.
that lady just da 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 da,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my poor kids are in the back seat all the time just hearing me bitch about everything. And my oldest, classic people pleaser, fucked him up real good. And he would see me growing in frustration, just sit there like fretting, like, please don't say something. And I was a people pleaser too. So I usually fawned in public, and the ruder someone was, the nicer I became. But like the tension, and he felt my energy. So he'd just be sitting over there picking his cuticles like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And still he gets nervous when we pull up and he would be like, he would be modeling how he wanted me to talk to the drive-thru. He'd go, when we pull up, say, 1 moment, please. Cause like he wouldn't know what he wanted or something yet. He wanted to look, and he'd say 1 moment, please. And we still die. He's 23, almost 24 now. So we still die laughing about this. But I was so critical of everything and everyone. Nothing was ever good enough. And it was because I wasn't good enough.
Well, because we swallowed our mothers without, like, I was like my mother. I'm never going to be like my mother. But
then we became
like
just like
my
them.
kids in their 20s. So, like even before that, we're like, Mom, oh my God, you're being such a bitch, like to the server. It took me I don't do that anymore. Now, like, it's like my mantra, and it's not fake, like, oh, hi. It's more be in the moment, take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
What's right in front of you, get rid of the thoughts, and how can I serve the moment in a way that's a blessing? And it's not like everything's airy-fairy instead of a curse. And I would say the whole curse thing, and sometimes you really do need to have boundaries and say, hey, back off. But in general, most of my interactions are coming from like loving kindness, not a fake version, because there's something in me that healed that wound. So I feel like I could walk in the world, even if I don't remember what I had for lunch, like I could still remember. I hope, like my grandmother, one of them died at 99 and she got some dementia. Yeah. And she still comes and visits me sometimes to give me a message, but she was, even if she forgot her words as she got older, she still had them. And sometimes it would take her a whole minute to she'd like have a blank look on because she's processing in her head. And then she'll go, oh, okay. If that's what makes you happy, like she went out with love. Like she was a loving person. This was my mom's mom. And when I look back, my mom was born in 1932, my dad in 1930. They're growing up in the Depression. You know, we're Jewish. A lot of the family lost in the Holocaust. I mean, this is,
Yeah.
like
Generational
their
and cultural
parents,
trauma.
the stock market crashed. Their parents were both working. My mom was the only child, had to, walk her drunk grandfather home from the bar. That was what she was tasked to do as a child. And who knows really what my mom didn't have to, everybody was working, didn't really have
Right.
money. And I think that's why, the primary reader of my book it's women in the age group, like 65 and up is really big. And then like 40 and up, nobody, maybe somebody in their 20s would be interested, but they would probably read it and go, God, I can't relate to this, because it was a different generation. And I really think that in our generation, our hair would get pulled in school. Like if you mispronounced a
Yeah,
word,
and it
you
even
would get
for me, it
teased.
even
It
was
was
better.
awful.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that is so okay, so to be honest, like, I talk nonstop shit about the boomer generation in general because I've had a lot of shit experiences with them. But I also, because of the compassion I can extend to myself now, I fully understand how that generation's pain was created and the way that it was passed down. My problem is the people who never get beyond it, and then they're still perpetuating the cycles
Yeah.
of shame and pain
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
other people, and the entitlement sometimes just out there. But even that
Totally.
I kind of
Yeah.
understand. Like,
Yeah.
because I was telling someone this not that long ago, and I'm like, well, here's what I know. They put up with some real shit. They felt like they had to care for their aging parents after all the abuse that they sustained. And then they said, I will do this because there will come a time when I will receive this. And so they're like, now I get to say whatever the fuck I want to whoever I want, whenever I want, and people just have to deal with it. And, people will take care of me the way I've cared for others, all of these things in these really wounded people. I totally get that. If you're not a person working on yourself in that generation, then we're probably just not a match. But I also understand it. Really, I do. Because, yeah, you couldn't even go to school and be safe. My grandma, who was born in 1940, she told me some of the shit the teachers did. Like, I mean, they would straight up slap you. I mean,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
She one time, I don't know if this happened to her or a classmate, but was forced to put gum on their nose and stand with their nose to the
Yeah.
wall with the
Yeah.
gum.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
gosh.
oh my God. She would tell me these terrible stories and I'd just be a nervous wreck at school all the time. Like,
I know. And kids were mean at school. Like I look back and like in our school, there was one Hispanic. There was one, and then we get teased. Don't use that drinking fountain because Melanie, who's really, she's weird. She drank out of that fountain. That's the Melanie fountain. Like just, oh my gosh.
yes.
It was a really,
that part probably hasn't changed that much, but yes, I mean, you're facing societal trauma in a way. I mean, we got a lot of societal stuff going on right now, but it was a very unique time, and even
Yeah.
older was a very unique time in history. And so
we had
I
rotary
totally get that.
phones.
Oh my God. Have you seen the videos of people like challenging their kids or grandkids to use a rotary phone? And they're like, you have 5 minutes to figure out how to call this number. It is hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
It is so funny. It's awesome.
And then we went
I
to the
loved it.
buttons on the phone. And then when I got an iPhone, like my kids had an iPhone before I did. And when they just gave it to me, I go, what am I supposed to do with it? And they're like, well, you just go, like,
yes, it's so hard. The technology is advancing faster than I can keep up with sometimes. But yeah, no, I totally hear you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the whole kind of millionaire, billionaire thing that like, wow, if I have $1 billion and I'm a guy or whatever, I'm just so cool. Like I can run the universe. I'm just that cool. It kind of that's just distasteful that people are struggling to, going to a grocery store is appalling.
Mm-hmm.
I have assets to buy groceries, but when you look at it's like, oh my gosh, that hamburger meat is now $20 a pound. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
I think people are struggling. And then when you hear, the billionaire is buying another billionaire thing, and I just really hope we could come to a place of not fake kindness, but real humanity.
Yes.
That's okay. The phones are tools. We have lots of tools, which is great. And we should look at them like that. They're not a substitute for people. And I really hope that in our communities, whether it's a small one or a large one or a global one, that people could be kind.
Yeah, I really am. Like the other day, we pulled through a drive-through after school clothes shopping, and it was this whole thing. It was a store kind of known in like regional. I'm in Oklahoma, and they gave me my drink and they gave me my little double dip ice cream cone, but they hadn't given me the food. And I was like, he said, "Oh, are you waiting on your tea?" And I said, "No, I got my tea." And he said, "Oh, okay," hands me the ice cream, goes, have a good night. And I sat there because he very quickly shut the window, and I was like, we haven't received our food. And all I was thinking was, man, I'm so glad I was paying attention, because I would have driven off and had to drive back around. So I'm just sitting here waiting. They open the door, they try to hand me the next thing, and I go, that's not mine. I'm still waiting on my food. And she goes, and this is your mix. And I go, I didn't order that. I got this and this, and I got those things, but I'm just waiting on the food. Shuts the door, comes back, tries to hand me a different ice cream cone. And I said, "Oh, that's not mine. I'm just waiting on the food." And she's like, "Oh." So they're like panicking. And I could tell, because the first guy cleared the order off the screen when he said, "Have a good night." So they're panicking. I'm not panicking because I'm just like waiting for the food. I was a little irritated that she gave me such attitude, because she did. She goes, and this is yours. And I was like, I think I know what it's yours. But also, I've seen this girl at this fast food place so many times. She's usually so sweet. So I was like, oh, she's stressed.
She's having a bad day.
I'm able to just sit here and be like, I don't give a shit. I'm just waiting for the food. Finally, we get the food, and I'm like, no problem, thanks. And honestly, I was just like, I'm just glad that I could offer them kindness, because there are times I don't have that to give. So like, I may have engaged with that and gotten snarky back, but I was just like, good for them, because I'm in a good mood. So like, I can see so clearly. And I think you said something earlier that made me think of this too, is like, the reason it's so much easier to offer kindness and compassion to strangers now is because we can offer that to ourselves. And that love that we've cultivated within is, we share from that overflow. I learned that's really the only love there is. That is love.
I agree.
Is what you cultivate within. And then you share that with others when you have it to give.
And when it's coming from that real heart-centered place where you're not trying to get something, you're trying to, here I am, I'm doing an offering in a way, not fake, not to get something. And it feels really good. It feels effortless. And I will tell you, regardless of whether I published a book or not, that the process of digging in, claiming my story, and then kind of living it, and then being brave enough to share it was priceless, because it contributed to all these other aspects of myself that I didn't know I was carrying a sword and a shield. Really, you just like, I was so righteous about it. I have every, let's just take off their head with my verbal whatever. I don't do that anymore. I mean, unless it was like a matter of life or death or something. In general, despite all the chaos going on in the world, in my little local environment, or flying to see my grandkids, sure, you know how little 2-year-olds are, but in general, I feel like I'm responding and creating things from a place of a pure heart and love. And also acknowledging, my aging brain, that I'm not going to be as quick. So I'll tease myself. Oh, Nana made a mistake. Like, I see my kids and I can feel them rolling their eyes because I said something ditzy. But you know what? I'm not rolling my eyes at myself. I'm just being humbled and going, oh, there's aging Nana. She needs a nap. Anyway, I really, really appreciate your authentic questions. And I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody's interviewed me from Oklahoma.
Really? And where did you say you are again? San Francisco?
Yeah, San Francisco.
I've never been to California.
It's foggy and cold where I right now.
That's what
It's
I
probably
hear. Yeah.
hot.
I'm like,
Right
why
in
have I
San
never been to
Francisco.
California?
Yeah, right in San Francisco by the water, which is where I live. I see the Golden Gate Bridge most of the time. It's fogged in.
Wow.
It does it's cold. It's not, our summer actually comes more in September, October, where it's like, wow, it's 70 and sunny. Oh my gosh, it got to 75. In June, like July, August, it's usually cold. Anyway.
Wow.
Whereas
Well,
I know
where
if you're,
to visit in summer, then it's 107 today.
gosh, and there's fires everywhere. I don't know if it's where you are, but just like where my daughter lives,
I don't think
there's
we're
fires.
having any right now. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
But
wow.
Yeah, hot weather. I'm not used to that. Being born in San Francisco.
Oh, you've been there
but-
your whole life?
Well, I was born here and then our family grew up in a suburb about 20 minutes away. And then I've lived in different places, like in Silicon Valley, but most of the times I've lived in California. But I've traveled a lot. I'm not doing that as much. I traveled for work. And so I've been to a lot of different places. And right now I'm like, I'm loving taking a little walk every day. And I love getting on my couch and having a little snooze every day. And I love,
Yes, embrace the softness. You had way too much harshness. Are you retired then?
Yes. Yay.
I love this for you. I love this.
I know.
I hope that your story inspires others to take this action earlier, but I also love the idea that it is literally never too late.
Right.
Never too late to enter your soft girl era. It is never too late.
Because really the turning point in my life was that girl in first grade whose mom read her diary out loud. I was shamed and I felt betrayal, shut down. It's not safe to love, all those things. And I had a coping strategy, but really the bottom line is it took me years to discover that I was leaving my heart behind and my voice, my true voice.
Yes.
So
I resonate with that so strongly.
Oh, I know. And it's never too late. I don't think it's ever
never
too late.
too late. I love this. Okay. Tell us where we can find you, your book.
Oh, thank you. I'm Lena Fein and I have a website called shatteringthemirror.com. It's all about shattering projections and seeing clearly. So shatteringthemirror.com. My book is available on Amazon in Kindle format, paperback format, and Audible. And it's on other platforms too, like Barnes and Noble and things like that. But I kept the price low on purpose. For me, it's wanting women, especially women readers that are more mature, to have that aha moment in themselves and go, okay, yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth the journey.
I love this. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I've had a really lovely time with you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Okay.
I'm going to press stop. Hang out for 1 sec.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Emotionally Unavailable. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.